All right, y'all, this is not a drill. The Cake Bake Shop has finally opened inside Disney World, but the big question on everyone's mind is, should you really eat there? Or is this a restaurant your family isn't going to be impressed with? Is it just too expensive? Find out the truth today here on DFB Guide. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog. Now for a second there, I started to wonder if we'd ever end up making this video at all, since the Cake Bake Shop over at Disney's Boardwalk Inn initially had several building delays that pushed back its opening date from the end of 2023 to early 2024, and here we are in October, and the Cake Bake Shop has finally been able to flip the lights on and crank the sparkles up for its soft opening, giving us the chance to review the restaurant's multiple menus and overall vibe to make sure you know what it's like before you eventually make reservations for this place. If you even want to make reservations for it at all. Depends on what you take away from today's video. The Cake Bake Shop replaced what used to be ESPN Club Restaurant. But even before the Cake Bake Shop came and took over that scene, the mastermind behind Cake Bake Shop, Gwendolyn Rogers, had already opened 2 other Cake Bake locations before Disney World got theirs. And both of those other locations are currently up in Indiana, one in Indianapolis and one in Carmel. Now, we've been longtime fans of Gwendolyn Rogers for a while. When Gwendolyn opened her first Cake Bake Shop location, she started out with just herself and one other employee. And as someone who knows what it's like to build a business from the ground up, I got a whole lot of respect for her. So why am I telling you all of this right now? Well, because I think it's not only nice to hear about the creative mind behind the project, but to understand that when you're going to the Cake Bake Shop, you're going to an independent company made into a big name, so there's going to be a learning curve involved with that, which has already created a lot of controversy surrounding the new restaurant, which you're going to see happening later on in today's video, especially when it comes to talking about prices. Thankfully, now that you're here with us, though, you can make your own decision about this place and decide if it's going to be the right fit for you, or if you'd be better off dining someplace else. Okay, ready for a confession? I'm going to be full of them today. We've actually been stalking the Cake Bake Shop? No, really. We've had our suspicions that a soft opening would be happening sooner rather than later, so we've had our reporters swinging by the boardwalk nearly every day, first thing in the morning, just in case it happened to be the day of the grand kickoff, which paid off eventually since we were able to finally snag a walk-up seat for the restaurant's soft opening during breakfast and then later on for dinner. At the time of this video's release, the Cake Bake Shop is currently only serving guests on a first-come, first-served basis, but that will be changing in the next couple of weeks. Soon, the Cake Bake Shop will have their advanced dining reservations up on the Disney World website or My Disney Experience app for you to book before your trip, once you're 60 days out from your visit, that is. Typically, new Disney restaurants tend to book up fast, and since we're about to enter into the holiday peak season, I'm predicting they're going to book up real fast. Just make sure you mark on your calendars or set a reminder for yourself on your phone so you don't miss your 60-day booking window just as soon as it opens up for you. Also, remember that if you're staying at a Disney World Resort hotel, you can start making your dining reservations for your entire stay up to 10 days, 60 days before the first day of your trip. So once you're 60 days from your hotel check-in, you can make reservations for the entire vacation, even for days that are more than 60 days out. If you want to make your ADRs over the phone, you can call 407-WDW-DINE, answer a few voice-activated questions, and then be transferred to a dining agent who will book your meals for you. However, the Disney phone line opens at 7 a.m. Eastern each day, which is why we recommend booking online instead, since reservations open even earlier online. Online reservations are usually open at 6 a.m. Eastern, but sometimes they're open even earlier than that. Okay, I know you're on the edge of your seat now, so let's step into the Cake Bake Shop for the first time and see what it's like. If you come to the Cake Bake Shop, especially after the sun goes down, the first thought that might come to mind before you step through the front door is glitter, shimmer, and sparkle. And that's because the sign above the door immediately sets the mood with that LED shine. Now, Cake Bake Shop, there's a couple of them up in Indiana, and this is the vibe. It is girly, it is pink, it is glittery. That's exactly what you're gonna get here. The glimmering aesthetic continues once you're inside. Cake Bake Shop is adorned with white detailing, accented pops of silver and gold, and there are multiple dining rooms in the restaurant. Each one has its own charm and details. There's the main dining area, the rose crown ring, followed by the garden view room, the lavender room, and the champagne room. But one of the main details of the cake bake shop, which will immediately catch your eye, are the chandeliers. There are actually 14 Swarovski crystal embellished chandeliers throughout the restaurant, and Gwendolyn herself actually embellished them over 2 weeks' time. By the way, want to know why these chandeliers continue to shine so vibrantly each and every day? Well, it could be because they're made out of really nice crystals, but it's also thanks to the cake bake shop's glittery dragon mascot, Brulee, and his magic glittering abilities. According to Brulee's lore, he is a cute dragon filled with pixie glitter and magic, jealous, and his job each morning is to fly around the cake bake shop and make sure each of the chandeliers continues to shimmer and shine. When he flies around, he has a tendency to leave glitter behind, which I've been pixie dusted before in Magic Kingdom, so I get it. That stuff leaves a trail. But if you're lucky, you just might be able to get pixie dusted here as well. Compliments of Brulee's pixie glitter. Yes, there is a glittering dragon backstory to Cake Bake Shop. Not only are the employees incredibly warm and welcoming at the cake bake shop, but the opulence of the restaurant shines everywhere. However, despite the cute little Brulee glitter dragon backstory, this still might not be a restaurant aesthetic that your kids are going to be overly thrilled with, since it's more about the elegance of things rather than the in-your-face Disney characters and interactive dining experiences. This is definitely the polar opposite of what this restaurant used to be, which is the ESPN Club, which was as sports bars came. So this is, completely different from what used to be here. And I know a lot of folks are frustrated by that, but let's reserve judgment and let's eat the food. So does the food here taste as sophisticated as the restaurant looks? Well, the menu at Cake Bake Shop is extensive, and that's because when you're dining in the restaurant, you'll get both a main restaurant menu as well as a menu for the items from the bakery. Don't worry, I'll talk more about the bakery in just a sec. The Cake Bake Shop is open from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m., breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But let's start with the lunch and dinner menu first. There are a variety of hors d'oeuvres to choose from, like truffle pommes frites and shrimp remoulade. You can also opt for a choose two meal, where you can choose 2 items from a variety of sandwiches, salads, and soups, kind of like Panera Bread. Or you can just order a sandwich all by its lonesome, also like Panera Bread, or literally any other sandwich shop. Now, the Cake Bake Shop also features 7 signature dishes, from pastas to seafood to Cajun specialties. But any extra sides you might want will be a separate price. The restaurant also has a children's menu for the kids with options like grilled cheese and buttered noodles. But of course, what this place is most well known for already are its decadent desserts and specialty drinks like cocktails, hot chocolates, lattes, full pots of tea, and the like. Now, confession number 2 of the video, we already knew what we wanted to order for dinner before we arrived, since the menu had been posted outside the restaurant leading up to its grand opening, and is still posted outside the restaurant if you want to take a peek at it during your stroll around the boardwalk. So it didn't take us very long for us to place our order. We started off with Gwen's famous Cosmo, which is $20.99. Now, this drink is Gwendolyn's personal recipe and contains Kettle One vodka, Cointreau, fresh lime, cranberry, orange oil, and is garnished with an orange peel. All right, so far so good. We liked this one. In fact, the longer the drink sat on the table, the more orange peel infused into the drink and elevated that amount of orange flavor. So we enjoyed it even more after it sat there for a while, bringing out more of those citrusy notes. Okay, now is it worth 21 bucks? I mean, it's a cocktail that's good, but good cocktails exist elsewhere in the Disney bubble for less than that. Next up, we got the Choose Two with a French ham and brie sandwich accompanied by a lemon Caesar salad. This was $26.99. The sandwich was definitely the better part of the Choose Two combo. The brie was nice and fresh, and the bread was fluffy on the inside but held its form on the outside. The Dijon mustard sauce was creamy but not super sharp, where we felt it had too much of a bite or completely overpowered the rest of the sandwich. As far as the lemon Caesar salad is concerned, it wasn't bad, but it was okay. We did like that they didn't skimp on the Parmesan cheese, and we loved the homemade croutons sprinkled on top, but overall, wasn't our favorite part of the meal, since it mostly tasted like an average Caesar salad, making it somewhat forgettable. Now, let's do a 180 and talk about our favorite thing we ordered during dinner, the 3 cheese cavatappi with basil breadcrumbs. This is basically a very fancy mac and cheese. It was $23.99. This dish blends Gruyere, Vermont sharp cheddar, and a touch of blue cheese in a melted homemade cream sauce with applewood smoked bacon folded into cavatappi pasta. Now, I know this is me we're talking about here, and I'd bend over backwards for a good cheesy noodle dish, especially if you're going to put some blue cheese in there. But this was sublime. The blend of the 3 cheeses was creamy and salty and paired really well with a healthy amount of crispy breadcrumbs on top. The applewood smoked bacon was also good and plentiful throughout. Seriously, it does get a thumbs up from me, 2 thumbs up even. And if I had an extra hand to spare, we'd do 3 thumbs up. Now, this is not your standard mac and cheese. This is not your kids' mac and cheese. Just be prepared for that. It's worth noting that the cavatappi was also served with a piece of French baguette and salted European butter. While the butter was very creamy and enjoyable, the bread itself was pretty standard. Still, nice side to have along with your cavatappi, I guess. All right, it's cake time. First cake of the video. We ordered a few different desserts during dinner for our multiple reporters to try. First up, we've got the raspberry champagne cake. Price was $22.99. This dessert is 3 layers of fluffy vanilla cake brushed with a French champagne simple syrup, filled with raspberry pixie jam and fresh raspberries, and then frosted with a champagne vanilla buttercream and further topped off with fresh raspberries. Oh, and it literally sparkles, like the whole thing is very shiny. Confession number 3, if my dessert sparkles, I'm a little more intrigued by it, at least from a visual standpoint. But glitter aside, how does the cake taste? It was super light and moist and all around pretty delicious. You know how sometimes those thick buttercream frostings kind of stick to the roof of your mouth and make you feel like you need to chug a whole glass of milk right after? Well, this was nice and sweet but melted easily and didn't feel so sugar-fied that my throat was all gunked up afterwards. Now, you know what I'm talking about, right? Right, okay. Now, we were told that the raspberries for this cake were hand-picked and hand-placed, and you can really tell by how fresh they tasted. There was definitely a lot of time and love put into this cake, which we appreciated. But do I want to pay that much for a piece of cake just because someone hand-picked the raspberries? I don't know. Now, dessert number 2, the key lime pie. This was $14.99. The crust was the star of this one, as it should be with a key lime pie, in my humble opinion. I know not everybody's going to agree with me. Nice and buttery and crumbly without losing its structural integrity. Our one complaint for this one was that there was just a little bit too much whipped cream for us, which completely overtook the flavor of the key lime. But if you're a whipped cream fan, then this is a good whipped cream. Very fluffy, very light, very, fresh and whippy. Dessert number 3, millionaire cake. This was $22.99. Now this one's for all you chocolate lovers out there, although what really brought this cake to the next level was all the other elements besides the chocolate to break up that flavor profile. Buttercream, salted caramel, ganache, shortbread cookies, because this is basically like a millionaire bar. And this is also a massive dessert that can be easily shared between 2, 3, maybe even 4 people, which might make that higher price tag more worth it. Finally, for our dinner review that is, we got dessert number 4, the magic bar. Price here, $13.99. This was a very rich and strong coconut flavor, so if you like lots of coconut, this might be the right fit for you. As far as it being like a top contending bakery item for the cake bake shop, especially at $14, it's not. There are also lots of other magic bars around Disney World that are really good and much less expensive. Okay, we might have jumped the gun with reviewing dinner first, but let's backtrack and check out what our breakfast at the Cake Bake Shop looked like. We started with coffee because caffeine is caffeine. I'm just trying to make the word caffeine sound weird. So we ordered the pumpkin spice latte with almond milk made with 2 shots of espresso with pumpkin pie syrup and sprinkled with pumpkin spice and glitter, of course. Price $7.99. It was lovely, it was sparkly, it also had cute presentation since it came with a cinnamon sugar donut hole. But all in all, it tasted like a pumpkin spice latte you can get from anywhere. It costs about the same as a PSL from Starbucks, so nothing really to write home about unless you want a really shiny PSL. Moving on to the actual food now, the banana orange nut bread is homemade banana bread studded with chopped walnuts and fresh orange zest topped with the restaurant signature cream cheese frosting. This one was $8.99 and also glittery. And if you're thinking, how many more things can Cake Bake Shop make glittery? Let's just say Brûlé the Dragon is not just around to make the chandelier sparkle, they put that little dude to work. Now this bread is freshly baked and moist, but what really makes this one special aside from the sparkles is the orange zest, which adds a nice zing along with that light frosting. Now look out Mickey Waffles, because there's a new waffle sheriff in town, and it's the Cake Bake Shop's chocolate chip Belgian waffle. Made with Belgian chocolate chips and topped with chocolate syrup and powdered sugar, and then served with a side of Vermont maple syrup and pink vanilla buttercream and fresh raspberries. This is $17.99. This waffle was fluffy and delicious, very airy, with the perfect amount of chocolate chips baked into the batter. We also love the fact that all those syrup, buttercream, and raspberry toppings are served on the side, so you can add as little or as much as you want to your waffle to make it just the way you like it. And for the record, yes, the frosting does indeed glitter. We also ordered the cinnamon toast brioche bites. These were $23.99, which there's not a whole lot to say to them that can't already be picked up with the description, so let's just say these were incredible. We loved them. We also love that they can easily be shared and that there's a decent amount of icing for dipping. These are probably the big winners. And then our team tried the Chala Orange French Toast, $18.99. Another decent option, though it definitely wasn't our favorite thing we tried that morning. Yep, the orange flavor was definitely present here without being overpowering, but aside from that, wasn't any better than other French toasts we've had in the past. That was a lot of sweet stuff, so let's switch things up and try something more savory. The Croque Madame, this one's $28.99, is made with country bread, French ham, Gruyere cheese, and Dijon mustard topped with bechamel sauce and a farm fresh sunny side up fried egg. It's also served with an arugula salad dressed with homemade lemon vinaigrette on the side. Now this was one of the best breakfasts we've ever had on Disney property. Once you burst that egg on top open, it runs down the side of the bread and mixes with the bechamel and the Gruyere to make this superiorly creamy. Is that a word, superiorly? Well, it was. And decadent. There's also a ton of ham inside this baby, but the Dijon mustard helps add a layer of complexity to that ham in a very good, zesty way. We also had to get the eggs any style, and this was $16.99, where you get 2 eggs, your choice of smoked bacon or pork sausage, oven roasted fingerling potatoes, and toast served with homemade raspberry pixie jam. This is a basic breakfast. It's also served with an arugula salad. Now $17 for eggs. Yeah, we thought that was a bit too pricey too, but the good news is that you really do get good eggs for that price and a whole bunch of other stuff. We chose Over Easy for our eggs, and I'm pleased to tell you they burst open and were deliciously runny just like we like them. Sorry for all you non-gooey egg fans out there, but you can always order a different kind of egg that doesn't run everywhere if you prefer. For our side, we opted for bacon over sausage, which we had no regrets over since it came out nice and crispy and oven baked instead of fried. Now the potatoes were something else. They were just so soft on the inside, yet still kept a bit of crispiness and caramelization on the outside. Drag a bite of potato through that runny egg and it's chef's kiss for sure. Next up is the broccoli quiche. This was $23.99. Once again, we were impressed. The quiche was super creamy and light, so much so that it was almost airy. And get this, the eggs don't sparkle. What? Get out of here. So the question you might be asking us right now is, did we like breakfast or dinner more at the Cake Bake Shop? The cheap answer would be, it depends on what you prefer, but my more in-depth answer is, there is something enchanting about coming to this restaurant at night, especially when you want a mean cavatappi. However, breakfasts in Disney World that are unique and go beyond the eggs and bacon offerings can be few and far between, so we really appreciated the nice mix of familiar morning options at Cake Bake Shop, along the more unique and decadent options too. That being said, you're still paying a pretty penny for breakfast here. Like that amazing cavatappi for dinner is $24, and the broccoli quiche is the same price, which seems a bit wild to me. Many times when you choose to dine at a Disney World restaurant for breakfast, you're doing so because you want to experience the restaurant's atmosphere for a more affordable price point. That's not always the case, but it is the case in many situations, like the ever so popular Cinderella's Royal Table in Magic Kingdom, for instance. But when it comes to Cake Bake Shop, you could easily pay around the same price for breakfast here that you would for a nice dinner. And you might be okay with that, but if you'd rather save your dinner splurge for a nice date night with more options beyond just the breakfast spreads, then you may prefer an evening meal at the Cake Bake Shop versus a morning one. Okay, I don't want to ignore those prices that we just listed off because I know they are shocking. Believe it or not, they actually used to be even more shocking before the restaurant opened its doors. When the Cake Bake Shop debuted its menu before it opened up shop, it was met with a lot of backlash because the prices felt very high for items you can normally get around Disney for a whole lot less. But the Cake Bake Shop did see online perplexement from people following their menu release, which led them to unveil a new menu just a few days later with updated prices for lots of the items. The broccoli quiche now is at $23.99. It was previously $28. A classic burger with pommes frites cost $26.99. It was previously $32. Children's buttered noodles can be purchased for $13.99 compared to the $18 they were previously, and the croissants are now $5.99 instead of $12. And that's only a portion of the prices that dropped before opening day. Not every price tag dropped, but quite a few did, except for a few of the drink options, which actually went up in price. A cafe latte now costs $7.99, but it cost $6 before, and a chai tea latte now costs $8.99 compared to $7 before. Regardless of the price drops, this restaurant is still going to be a splurge to eat at, particularly for the folks who want to try multiple things like the fancy drinks and hors d'oeuvres and dessert offerings. Maybe it's not as big of a splurge as some restaurants on property, especially since it doesn't have a prefix menu, so you can order whatever you want without being forced to pay for an appetizer or dessert you're not hungry for. And if you think about it, restaurants everywhere nowadays are becoming more of a splurge similar to this. Literally, I just ate at P.F. Chang's with my husband today, and we dropped $100, and we didn't even have drinks or desserts or anything, and I don't quite know how that happened. So I feel like the prices at Cake Bake Shop are starting to approximate what you're going to get outside the Disney bubble too, which is crazy, but I'm not defending any of this. I'm just giving context. So I think you got to decide how you want to approach the Cake Bake Shop if you want to eat here. You could totally just go in there and get waters and one entree each to keep the total cost relatively affordable, in Disney standards at least. Or you could go in ready to enjoy those signature adult beverages and apps and giant cake slices and end your dining experience here with a pretty hefty triple-digit bill. Oh, and just so you know, Cake Bake Shop automatically adds a 20% gratuity to the bill, so you don't have to worry about tipping on top of that unless you want to, which you may since the service here was exceptional in our circumstances. Now, right now, the restaurant only accepts a Disney Visa discount, but we did speak with one of the leaders during our meal who said they're working on bringing a Disney Vacation Club discount as well. Now, I promised you I'd talk more about the bakery component for the Cake Bake Shop, and that's exactly what I'm going to do right now. If you'd rather skip the whole sit-down dining experience altogether, but you still want to get a taste, literally, of what the Cake Bake Shop serves up, you do have the option to grab something to go from the cafe and bakery display case located at the back of the store. You just can't order a full-fledged meal from this counter service component of the restaurant. And yeah, confession number 4, we ordered stuff from the to-go counter too. We're at confession 4 now, right? I'm starting to lose track here. Now, what we got were the Marie Antoinette, chocolate truffle, and the unicorn hot chocolate. Now, the unicorn hot chocolate, that's $11.99, $12 hot chocolate, had a base made with strawberry milk and a topping made with pastel pink icing swirl, colorful sprinkles, and tiny marshmallows. This unicorn drink is definitely a fun option for the kids who want a toasty beverage. It's not served piping hot, so no scalding tongues here, but adults who aren't as keen on coffees or teas might also enjoy ordering this option as well. The chocolate truffle is just a little guy, but he cost us $6, so really savor that first bite or two of chocolate if you can. It's made of milk chocolate, peanut butter, and raspberry, though the peanut butter wasn't as prominent as we were hoping. Then there's the Marie Antoinette, made with 2 pieces of almond flour pastry, similar to a macaron, with alternating buttercream icing, raspberries, and a raspberry filling sandwiched inside. This was $14.99. Ah yes, another Disney bakery item for AJ and Bria to fight over, it seems. If you've ever wondered what it's like to taste the flavor of a rose, just order this pastry. It's very perfumey. The buttercream of this pastry was soft and fluffy, and the fresh raspberries provided that sharp burst of flavor. Is it worth splurging $15 for? It's up to you. For me personally, I'd rather splurge just a little bit more for one of the restaurant's cakes that they're known for, and just buy a regular lime raspberry macaron from Leol in Epcot for around $7.50 instead. All right, so is it worth it? Final verdict time. Should you try the Cake Bake Shop during your next Disney World visit? Well, if you're looking for an elevated dining experience without the Victoria and Albert level prices, then the Cake Bake Shop makes you feel like royalty. And while that means you'll be paying a hefty price for your meal, it's definitely a great place for a fancy date night or celebration. This screams mother-daughter celebration situation. Now, if you want to eat somewhere with lots of options for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, the menu at Cake Bake Shop offers a lot of variety, which is great if your group is made up of picky and adventurous eaters alike. Not to mention the portions here are a good size with good quality ingredients too. Now, maybe you're obsessed with glitter and good customer service, because glitter is everywhere. Now, we love the ambiance and storytelling of the Cake Bake Shop. It might not look the same as the cute little cottage we visited in Indiana years ago, but it's not supposed to. The Cake Bake Shop has taken on a whole new persona out here in Florida without sacrificing the top-tier quality service and care that's obviously been put into the creation of this restaurant. Now, this may not be the place for you if the prices here are still a major turnoff. Even with the pricing adjustments made before opening day, the Cake Bake Shop can still cost you a pretty penny when all is said and done. You can definitely find quite a few similar items that the Cake Bake Shop sells for cheaper over at Leol Boulangerie Patisserie in Epcot or various other places in Disney World. If it's just a simple sandwich you're craving, Earl of Sandwich can hook you up with one of those for under $10 without all the frills and glitter. You can even find giant and tasty cake slices for cheaper at Disney Springs too, since the ever-popular Gideon's Bakehouse sells enormous cake slices for $9 each. If you're looking for a quick meal, yeah, the Cake Bake Shop does have a to-go option in the back of the store, but this to-go option is just for desserts and specialty hot drinks. If you're looking for a quick service meal while you're in the Boardwalk area, you might want to turn to other locations like Boardwalk Deli or the Pizza Window or the brand new Blue Ribbon Corn Dogs. And if you want a dining experience that's more kid-focused, yes, Brulee is a wonderfully glittery addition to the Cake Bake Shop, but he's really not the main focus of this place. This restaurant is truly one dripping with elegance and sophistication, so if you think that's going to bore your kids, you might want to look into some nearby character-driven resort restaurants instead, like Cape May Cafe for breakfast at Disney's Beach Club or Topolino's Terrace, also breakfast only at Disney's Riviera Resort, where you can see those characters. So what do you think? Are you ready to get your glitter on over at the Cake Bake Shop? Let us know in the comments and make sure to keep tuning back in for more DFB dining reviews and recommendations to come. Thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks for watching. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.